Consequently, honorable senators, the procedure to be followed in this case is set out at section 33(6)(a) of the County Government Act and Standing Order number 75(4)(a), both of which provide as follows. If the special committee reports that the particulars of any allegation against the governor have not been substantiated, further proceedings shall not be taken under this section in respect of that allegation. Honorable senators, that being the case, this matter stands concluded and no further proceedings shall be taken thereof. However, pursuant to Standing Order number 1, and cognizant that consideration of the proposed removal from office of a governor by impeachment is one of the most important functions of the Senate under the Constitution, I shall allow the chairperson of the special committee to make brief remarks on the process undertaken by the committee and in particular, any recommendations the committee would wish to make. The chairperson will have not more than 15 minutes. Thereafter, I shall allow senators to make general comments and observations thereon for not more than 30 minutes, after which the Senate shall adjourn. I thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very interesting day. Ironically, Mr. Speaker,
what's your point of order? And when you want your point of order, just use the button, because I can see from here. Okay, Mazayo. Okay, Senator Mazayo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for allowing me to interrupt my brother. The point is, I was one of the participants in this committee, and I know how detailed that report is. I think 15 minutes may be a little bit short for purposes of expounding on how certain decisions have been arrived at. If at all, Mr. Speaker, I think my learned colleague is very much aware about point of orders. What I'm trying to suggest here is, if he can be given at least half an hour, then I believe he will be in a position to put a little bit of some meat of each and every decision that was arrived at. And it's good for the country, because the country at this moment is watching. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In fact, there were 10 minutes. I added 5 to make it 15, because you'll have an opportunity to read the report, which is already done. So, okay, Chair, proceed.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm well guided. I will try within my ability to utilize the 15 minutes. Where need be, I will come back to your Honorable Chair and ask for extension of time. Otherwise, I thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very interesting day. Mr. Speaker, as I was presiding over the proposed impeachment of Governor Waiguru, some funny people were hiding in some cocoon, planning to remove me.
Order, Senator Malala.
As Senator for Kakamega.
Order, Senator.
It is quite ironical.
No, order. Can you use your time properly?
Thank you.
You are now dragging the House into your party issues, and we are not party to that. Please focus on your
Thank
report.
you. I want to remind the people that I am the Senator for Kakamega, and I'll stay to be the Senator for Kakamega. Mr. Speaker, sir, permit me to begin by remarks conveying on behalf of honorable senators of the special committee on the proposed removal from office of the governor for Kirinyaga County, our appreciation and gratitude to you and this honorable House for the confidence you expressed in us to undertake the honors task by appointing us to serve in this special committee. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Section 33(3)(b) of the County Government Act of 2012 and Standing Order number 75(1)(b) of the Senate may, by resolution, appoint a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter or investigate the matter in plenary. Mr. Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader moved a motion on Tuesday, 16th June 2020, and following the debate in the House, the Senate resolved to establish a special committee comprising of Senator Abshiro Alake, Senator Michael Mbito, Senator Mwangi Paul Githiomi, Senator Beth Mugo, Senator Anwar Loitiptip, Senator Philip Mpayae, Senator Cleophas Malala, Senator Beatrice Kwamboka, Senator Stuart Mazayo, Senator Judith Pareno, and Senator Moses Kajwang, to investigate the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor of Kirinyaga County and to report to the Senate within 10 days pursuant to Standing Order 75(2) of its appointment on whether it finds the particulars of the allegations to have been substantiated or not. Mr. Speaker, following its establishment, the Senate committee held its first meeting on Wednesday, 17th, 2020, pursuant to Standing Order 193 and Rule 3A of Part 2 of the 5th Schedule of the Senate Standing Orders. The Clerk of the Senate conducted the election for position of chairperson and vice chairperson. Mr. Speaker, I wish to report that the committee elected the Kakamega senator, the one Senator Cleophas Wahungu Malala as the chairperson, and Senator Abshiro Halaki, MP, as the vice chair. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 33(5) of the County Government Act, Standing Order 75(3) and Rule 4A of Part 2 of the 5th Schedule of the Senate Standing Orders provide that the governor shall have the right to appear and be represented before the special committee during investigation. Rule 4B of Part 2 of the 5th Schedule to the Senate Standing Orders further accord the County Assembly the right to appear and be represented before the special committee. Mr. Speaker, the committee commenced its hearing on Wednesday, 24th, 2020, by convening a conference of parties where formal introductions of parties, recital of the mandate, and the committee adoption of the hearing program took place. Mr. Speaker, among the preliminary issues that the committee had to deliberate and make a decision on was a letter, Mr. Speaker, referenced Senate Letter 1/003 dated 20th June 2020 from the Speaker of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga requesting the special committee to summon Mr. Patrick Mugo, the Chief Officer, Finance and Economic Planning, Mr. Kennedy Ngiabi, the Chairperson, County Public Service Board, and Mr. Joseph Otieno Karilas, the Director, Supply Chain Management. The County Assembly stated in its letter that the said officer had refused, neglected, or otherwise been unable to give their statements and produce documents requested by the County Assembly. The committee deliberated on the matter and pursuant to Rule 9 of Part 2 of the 5th Schedule of the Senate Standing Orders, issued invitation to appear as witnesses. The invitation to appear was served on the witnesses on the same day. Mr. Speaker, the County Assembly was represented by Mr. Ndegwa Njiru and Mr. Charles Mwangi Ndegwa, and the Governor was represented by Mr. Paul Nyamodi, Advocate, Mr. Kamotho Waiganjo, Advocate, and Andrew Mushiri Karani,
What's your
advocate,
point
to
of order,
appear
Senator
on behalf
Murkomen?
of the governor. During the,
Thank you,
This is
Mr.
a point
Speaker.
of order.
The Speaker, I didn't mean to interrupt Senator Malala, but to start with, Mr. Speaker, is making comments pursuant to your generosity and on application of Standing Order number 1. Ordinarily, we would not have gone this direction. The matter would have ended and we go home. And since he's doing so, you say that because of the importance of the impeachment of governor, I would suggest, Mr. Speaker, with your direction, that Senator Malala forgets about all this introduction, about who is a member of the committee, when did it start, who are the lawyers, who are the parties, and then go to the substratum, Mr. Speaker, the real issues that happen, so that then we can apply this short time, this window you've created, for purpose of the salient issues. Otherwise, his time will be wasted on things that we know. We know there is a governor, there was an MCA, there were lawyers, there was hearing, there was hard this. Let him just go to, this is the things the committee were faced as challenges, and they ended up making this recommendation because of this. That way, we'll use this time more quality than the recitals he's making. The rest we can read for ourselves.
Okay, Senator Malala, utilize your time properly, the 15 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, you've given me 15 minutes. It is my prerogative to know how to use the 15 minutes. You cannot limit me on the time and again tell me how to spend the 15 minutes. So, Senator Murkomen, kindly allow me to discharge my duty as the chairperson of the Select Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will go directly to the charges against Governor Waiguru. There were two main charges leveled against the governor, which are gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, and abuse of office and gross misconduct. To support the first charge, the County Assembly made the following allegations. 1, failure to deliver the annual State of the County Address for financial year 2018-2019 to the County Assembly. 2, undermining the authority of the County Assembly. 3, violation of Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 and the Public Finance Management Act of 2012. To support the second charge of abuse of office and gross misconduct, the County Assembly made the following allegations. 1, violation of Section 46 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. 2, improper conferment of a benefit on a public officer. 3, disregard of the recommendation of the County Public Service Board regarding the remuneration of members of the Board of Kirinyaga Investment Authority, payment of KIDA board members outside the IFMIS and county government payroll, and payment of interest amounting to more than 14 million paid to Mr. Francis Muriithi Kariuki. And lastly, violation of the right to health of the people of Kirinyaga. Mr. Speaker, allow me to address this House on the issue of the threshold that is required to impeach the governor. The issue of the threshold for impeachment is complex and does not contain a simple mathematical formula. During the Senate's consideration of the report of the special committee investigating the removal of the governor of Kericho, on 3rd June 2014, the Senate adopted the committee's recommendation that the threshold for impeachment should take into account the following consideration. 1, the allegation must be serious, substantial, and weighty. 2, the violation must be a flagrant and glaring violation. 3, there must be a nexus between the violation and the governor. 4, the violation must have led to harm, loss, or damage to society. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the violation must have led to a loss of dignity in the office held and loss of confidence or trust in the person holding office to carry out the functions of that office with integrity and accountability. The threshold was also used by the Senate in the subsequent consideration of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Mwangi Wairia, the governor of Murang'a County, in November 2015. This special committee adopted the above threshold for removal of Governor Anne Waiguru as adopted by the Senate on 3rd June 2015. Mr. Speaker, in the course of its investigation of this matter, the special committee has observed a number of issues which, though outside the specific charge.
Order?
Mr. Speaker, Senator Malala has made a very serious statement about the Senate adopting particular criteria in the case of Kericho in 2014 and subsequently in the case of Murang'a. It would be erroneous if it goes to the public that, Mr. Speaker, the Senate adopted any of that procedure, because it was not the Senate. The Senate did not have the opportunity, because the governors were cleared, to adopt any of those procedures. Contrary to his assertion, it is actually the committee in its report that came up, Mr. Speaker, with that criteria, which report was not adopted by the House because Section 33 of the County Government Act does not allow the House to adopt. If it goes to the public out there that there is a set criteria by this House based on those two reports of Kericho and Murang'a, it will create the impression that this particular committee found itself a cover to come and explain their clearance of the governor using a report of a committee which was not adopted by this House, but rather which was used by the committee, a criteria used by the committee to clear certain governors. So I'd like, Mr. Speaker, you to rule whether it is in order for Senator Malala to use the word adopted by the Senate instead of saying used by the relevant committee.
Senator Malala, I think it's a matter of semantics. Some semantics, you know.
Mr. Speaker, in English, we have what we call synonyms. So you'll allow me today to please my friend, Honorable Murkomen, to use a synonym for adopted. So I will say that the committee did not adopt, but the committee used the precedents of the previous committees. That is what we call synonym in English. In the course of its investigation of this matter, the special committee has observed a number of issues, which, though outside the specific charges made against Governor of Kirinyaga, are garment to the totality of the situation of Kirinyaga County and merit the attention of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee observes that the proceedings before it has exposed acrimonious, contemptuous, and cold relationship between the county assembly on one hand and the county government on the other, on the other hand, that threatens to grind the county
Senator
to a halt.
Cherargei, where are you? What's your point of order?
Because this House